Hi guys, my name is International Master Minh, and today I'm here to show you one of the most memorable and interesting game I've ever been played. This is the game between me and my idol in chess, Levon Aronian, who is super grandmaster from Armenia. And I got a chance to play him in a very special occasion, the Christmas Eve. So, I told you earlier many times in my stream is that I love Aronian for his really creativity style in the game. This game is really clear example for that. So today I'm showing you my game and give you some analysis for this very funny and also instructive games. Let's go. In this game he played e4, c5, knight 3 and knight f6. We are playing 3+2, obviously a blitz game, and this is, I think, the game is not with the best quality, but I think really instructive, and there are a lot of things to go through. Knight f6. This is the ninja variation in the Sicilian, which is the variation I even recommend in chess.com. You can go to my chess.com profile and I have some videos about this. He played the main line e5, knight d5, knight c3 and e6. Here knight d5 is the main line, so I take in d4. You can watch this in my video in chess.com. I have been playing this against some of the top players in the world, including Nishigiri, Firuza Alireza, even Hikaru, and now this Aronian. And both of them playing the move knight to e4. Why they playing knight to e4? The idea is trying to exploit the best square on d6. This is a very good square for the knight. So now let me go f5 right away. f5. It seems to be a weird move, but I have already recommend and I've already explained this move in the part 3 of my video course in this ninja variation. Why need to do this move? First of all, this knight is really annoying. Second, by doing this, we want to see what he's going to do. If he takes here, so we can take back with the knight. We're in a good position. And if the knight's run, he needs to waste the tempo. Knight c3 here, which Aronian play in the game, is the main line. Knight to e7. The idea of this move is trying to go attacking this e5 pawn, maybe by means of knight g6 and combine with knight c6. d4, this is still the main line. Takes. Knight takes d4. a6. The reason to play this is quite simple. As I told you earlier, so this d6 square is opposite for him. So a6 simply to prevent knight b5 and prevent him from getting to d6, right? g4. This one is absolutely creative and also real obvious variation happening on the board right now. White doesn't care for the development, instead he go for the attack right away. g4, he attacking f5 pawn and forced black to think for some concrete decision. Release this pawn or not. So now in the game, I think for 45 seconds and I decide to take the pawn right away. I should play knight c6, I guess so. Since right now I'm attacking the knight on d4, so if you play here, I can play knight d4 and then queen takes knight f5 and I got a good square in opposite f5. That can't be kicked by my opponent's pawn, right? But in the game I decided to do something different. fg4. Queen takes. Knight c6. Not only I'm attacking this knight, but also attacking this pawn e5. Knight c6. Knight takes back. f4. The idea here is simply to defend the e5 pawn. Also, white want to go for some attack. in the king side, right? In the game here, I make mistakes. I think for 36 seconds here, but didn't go out with, I think, the best move in this position. I simply play d6 to, trying to counter him in the center. But I should do knight to b4 here, which is not so easy to be foreseen in the blitz game. Why do this? First of all, I attacking the c2 pawn that forces him to defend. Second, by doing this, so I simply defend against the idea of bishop d3, combining with queen h5, that he successfully carried out in the game. In game, we don't see that for sure. I mean, this is a blitz game, so the quality might not be so high, but this is very fun as well. Let's go. d6. Bishop d3. So now you can see right now the idea of white is going for queen h5 and then attacking the king, right? I think for a real long time here, right here, 66 seconds. Right now I think I only have around 1 minute after move 13, around 1 minute. I try to find a way to counter him and to defend my position. I think like, okay, how to defend against queen h5? g6 obviously comes right into mind, but g6. Simply he can play h4 and h5 and he can try to create a fast attack here on this king side. Also, another threat that he's having right now, for instance, if you play bishop e7, he can even play bishop take s7. For instance, obviously he can play queen g7, but I just want to show you example of what he's going to make. In a game, I think for 66 seconds, and I go for d to e5. Why I'm playing this? I just think that I need to go for some counterplay, and I'm ready to go for the complications, for the wild battles. And I think that queen h5 I could play g6, this thing. Bishop takes, pawn takes, queen h4, queen h8, I'm sorry. And then I'm thinking I should play knight to b4. I'm not so entirely sure about my idea. This is what I want to do in the game. Why I'm playing this? First of all, I'm attacking the pawn at c2. That forces him to defend that, since c2 is going with check and with a fork on a1. Second, why not knight d4, right? Knight d4 is the same thing, but knight b4, since I want to spend the d4 square for my queen. In the case, he castling on the king side. For instance, right now, castling here, so queen d4 check, king g2, bishop d7, and now bishop c6 is going to be next. And we can castling as well. Although we are down exchange, we have plenty of counterplay against his bad king, and his pieces is still not developed yet. So, come back to the game. In the game, he sees my threat, he sees my ideas, and he thinks for 50 seconds. 50 seconds, and he fights, he fought out the best move here. Best move according to engine. That is simply really amazing move. Rook f1. I mean, this one deserves an exclamation mark. Why? If you want to understand this one fully, we need to understand the situation on the board right now. Simply, this king in it is quite exposed, and it's easy to get it to safety in a few moves. This king e1 seems to be the same thing, but castling here simply makes this king still exposed. The idea of why he wants to castling on the queen side, where it can feel completely safe. And he will bishop e3 and then castling here. That's why he don't want to castle on this side. And he sees that I cannot do anything right now to his king. That's why he simply get rook out first, with the idea of starting the attack on the f-file. he simply sees that if I take here, so I take with knight e5 and queen here, so knight f7 to defend. So that is the reason why he played rook f1 first, which is approved by the engine. F1. Now my king is in grave danger. How to defend the king? It's not that easy. In the game, I chose to play g6. Although obviously I don't want to spend time with this, but I need to do this since my king obviously need a shelter to hide, right? I think right now, if he plays simply the bishop e3 and castling here, he will have really huge advantages. But somehow in the game, he go for the one move threat, queen h3. That is actually not that strong. Bishop g7. Obviously right now, so queen h3 to do what? He want to go for bishop g6, right? That pinning the rook on his shit. I simply defend with bishop g7 here. And in the game, here I think I only have around 17 seconds on the clock. 17 seconds. And around Levon, I think Levon have around like 40 seconds, around 40 seconds. And this is very risky and very dangerous situation for me. At e5. Open up the f-file and doesn't allow me to castles. Knight to e5. Changing the bishop on d3, which is very important one. Also, I want to play knight f7 and run the king to safety. In the game, Levon commits a really grave blunder. Bishop a6. The idea is really simple. Simply removing this bishop and he wants to castle next. Really simple. But sadly for him, he commits a blunder. Knight to d3. Exchanging the bishop first. So right now, the queen is holding this bishop, right? So we cannot take the queen to d3. So c3 is forced. But now here comes my very strong move, e5. e5. And suddenly, I won a piece. Why? Simply right now, the queen need to work this s6 bishop. And also my bishop is looking at this queen as well. So the queen need to run, right? But why to run? Queen e3 is the game continuation. I'm going to tell you later. But queen g3 can be an idea. Maybe an idea. But I can simply take. Queen e5 looks like winning, looks like really winning, right? But no. Queen e7 counter pinning. And now the queen is forced to be changed off the board. And I'm winning easily. Queen e3 in the game. I think very practical choice. Now he realized that he's losing. So he go for a really logical possibility. Queen h4, rook f2. And in the game here, I think I started to play wrong at this moment. But okay, I mean right now I only have around 10 seconds on the clock. So things become tricky for me. Especially, you know, against stronger as him. I should take with the bishop. This is quite forcing. I mean like queen f5 still queen e7, right? The same thing with the last move. And then bishop can be much stronger right here. And we get the pin here, which is easier for us to exploit. Like this one and this one, right? But no, in the game I don't have time left. I just play queen a6 with a simple thought that okay, so by doing this, I don't need to lose the e5 pawn. That's all. But now queen c5. Suddenly, I recognize that it's no longer easy for me to win the game anymore. Knight d5 is beyond the rook. Still knight 4 as well. And my kings cannot escape from the center pretty soon, right? What do we do now? Since I don't have much time left, like 10 seconds on the clock, I simply go for bishop a6 to defending the knight. The engine goes up with rook f8. But this is very tricky variation, knight d5 and rook f7 forcing. and c7, so rook takes. This is the move by engine. But this is quite hard to see, and actually, I think practically it's not the best. Why? Simply, I mean after 95 you need to go for the only move. And if you go for another move, you can't even like take a risk that you can even lose the game. Now knight c7 and queen e7 are both threatening, so rook f7 is the only defending moves. But you know, this is quite hard to see in time scramble. So in the game, I simply decided to go for bishop e6, defending against 95. In the game, he wanted to flag me for sure. He go for the idea knight e4 to go 96, right? Attacking my king on e8. But the thing which is really funny is that right now, the move which is really strong, recommended by engine, is 95. This is simply violating the rules. Like when we are down material, so we should refrain from exchanging pieces, right? But this is the different situation. By exchanging the bishop, which is forcing, since we need to take this, black needs to take this. If he not, so this and this is over. After this, queen takes. So now queen a6, queen b7, queen f7 are going to be play. And the funny thing is this. Black cannot defending against all of these things. Both two rooks cannot join the game right now. And sadly for him, black, I mean like why should at least having a drawn here, this position. The engine pointed out that I can still play for a win with queen e3 and here and queen e3 and then queen d7 to change the queen. But this position is really hard to win vertically, especially when we can go for queen takes and rook f7 to capture this bishop on g7. Knight e4 in the game. Now I can simply see that he want to go 96, right? But since I'm still up a bishop, I just simply think that, okay, so now if what should I do to defend? So okay, so I can try sacrifice my rook for the knight. I'm still up material. His king is not safe in e1 either, right? So I think it's simply like what to do and how to defend. I comes up with the idea rook d8, which is not bad at all. The best move here according to engine is rook c8 and 96 king d7. And the funny things happen is that if the knight takes, so rook takes, and play is completely winning due to the idea rook c1 and boom, over. Like here for instance, now this one simply deadly. So now rook f3, bishop takes and queen c6 to go for the endgame. That is simply fundamental, right? But in the game, you know, just don't have any time to see that. That's why I tell you this game is very, very interesting. Like both of us are making mistakes, typical for blitz games. But I think a very instructive game to be analyzed and a very memorable game for me. Rook d8, queen b6. I'm still winning, but sadly right now I commit a really bad blunder. Queen h3. No, I mean like I just want to go for some active plan. I think that my queen h6 is not doing anything so concrete. So just want to move the queen some way better, and even trying a little bit like queen d3 for instant if possible in the future. So you know, just trying to go the queen out. But sadly, you can see here that white got a very simple move. What is that? The queen and the bishop are on a fork, right? So you guys are correct. Knight g5. And suddenly, I'm losing. I'm completely losing. And somehow, right now, he still have something like 20 seconds. And I have only around, I think, 5 seconds left on the clock. Jeez. Queen g4, forcing. Knight to e6. I think in the game I should go for rook d7 right away to defend both this rook and this bishop. That should be forcing. I think so. But I was down time a lot, so just wanted to give him some headache by queen g1 first, which is actually not so correct. Rook f1 simply queen b6, right? If nothing happened on the board, it should be completely funny. But obviously he doesn't fall for that elementary trap. But now, here comes another question. Where should the king go? Where should the king go? In a game, for some reason, Levon thinks for 16 seconds, which I don't think is that necessary. Let's think together with me, and by thinking logically, we can simply figure where the king should run. We have only two squares available, right? e2 and d2. But the king d2 can run into some checks, bishop a6, like this for instance. Not only the bishop escaped from the knight attack, but also right now, suddenly, it becoming quite tricky, and it allows black to have some ideas to attack. So normally, when you're trying to convert the winning position, you can simply play the moves that doesn't allow your opponent to have any counterplay. That's why king e2 is simply the best move right here. But for some reasons, Aronian thinks for 60 seconds, so now we are both in time scramble. That explains for the a bit weird final part of the game. Queen g4 check again. King f1, king escapes. Queen h3 check again. King g1. Rook d7. This is something I need to do right now. Right now. Defending both the rook and the bishop. Rook c1, a very simple move. Simply bring the last fox to the game. Now he wants to invade through c8. And sadly, nothing can defend against that. Right now I only have like 2 or 3 seconds on the clock, I don't remember correctly. But I just vote for the last trick, bishop a6. Now I'm attacking this rook on c1. And he also doesn't have much time on the clock. Here he's simply winning the game if he can clearly play knight c7. Why? Simply now, if I'm playing this, for instance, king e7, so queen f6 is mate. King d8, so knight e5 is simply mate as well. This rook can invade next, and my king cannot escape through e7. Rook c7 is the only choice, but queen c7 and simply like queen e5 next, getting the rook, or going for some checks is absolutely over. Like for instance, like here, and then queen e5, king d7, rook f7 is mating right away, and king d8 and queen h8 with tempo. And you see he can check you with tempo in this position when your king is completely open like this. This is over, so it is. But he doesn't have much time as well. Rook c8 check, a very natural move. But king e7. Right now, surprisingly, although the attack of white looks very strong, he only have a move to win here, which is queen b4 check, to defend against my queen g4 check and d1 check. In the game, he doesn't have any time left. He go for rook h8, taking the rook. Now it looks completely winning, right? But no, queen g4 check. King f1 is forcing for him. Or h1, pretty the same thing. I can go for perpetual. Rook g2, queen d1 is even more dangerous, since king f2, queen d2, and this king is gonna be attacked badly, right? Which is something you don't want to allow. So in the game, king f1, queen d1, and perpetual incoming. And a draw was agreed. Very interesting game, right? I mean, like both of us having chances. I think at first he get a good opening preparation, and he played some really good move to, I think, cause me great problem in the opening. That, I think, forced me to spend a lot of time on the clock. And he got a strong attack there, I think so. Luckily for me, he making mistakes with bishop a6. Yeah, with bishop 6, this one. And allows me to come back with a d3 and e5, winning the bishop, right? And then, since I need to spend a lot of time at first, now I just don't have enough time to convert the position into a win. And then he give me some really headache, big headache to convert it correctly. And then I stumble at the end, queen h3. I should simply play like something bishop f5. Oh, this one and this one. Both are completely winning. Like running bishop to anywhere still winning. Just don't go to queen h3, which is what I do in the game. Jeez. And a g5, and then it's his turn to winning completely. But also, when he comes time scramble, the thing can become tricky, even for the best players, right? And yeah, true to the spirit of a Christmas Eve, the game ended peacefully, and I think we can both be content with a draw in this game. Okay guys, so this is the game between me and my idol in chess, Levon Aronian, and some analysis for this game. Hopefully you enjoy this, and I will try to be even more active on YouTube soon. Stay tuned, and goodbye.